At my birthday party, I watched my grandson's girlfriend slip something into my plate. When no one was looking, I quietly switched it with my neighbors. And minutes later, she started convulsing on my kitchen floor. I'm glad you're here, because what happened that night revealed a betrayal I never saw coming. Let me take you back 3 hours before that moment. My kitchen was filled with laughter and the warm glow of candles as 25 people gathered to celebrate my 68th birthday. I'm Catherine Williams, and after losing my husband 12 years ago, I'd learned to find joy in these simple moments. My grandson Oliver, who I'd raised since he was 15 after his parents died in a car accident, had insisted on throwing this party. He's 27 now, a freelance designer, and the closest thing to a son I'll ever have. His girlfriend Melissa had been in our lives for 8 months. 25 years old, studying law, always posting those perfect photos on Instagram. She seemed lovely at first, always so helpful, so interested in my well-being. Perhaps a bit too interested, if I'm honest. The past few weeks, Melissa had been asking questions, casual ones at first. How was I managing in this big house all alone? Had I thought about what would happen to the property when I was gone? Did I have a will? Oliver started echoing her concerns. Grandma, maybe you should think about downsizing. This house is too much for you. But I'm 68, not ancient. My mind is sharp, my health is good, and this house holds 40 years of memories. On the day of the party, Melissa insisted on organizing everything. The decorations, the food, the entire buffet. She was nervous though, kept checking her phone, whispering with Oliver in corners. I'm a retired teacher. I spent 40 years reading teenage liars. I know when something isn't right. Then I saw it. Melissa was standing by the buffet table, looking around to see if anyone was watching. She pulled a small dropper bottle from her handbag. My heart stopped as I watched her squeeze several drops onto a specific plate. My plate! The one with a special decoration, the one traditionally meant for the birthday girl. She even placed a folded napkin beside it as a marker. A sensible person might have screamed, called the police right then. But I've learned something over the years. Sometimes the best way to catch a criminal is to let them think they've gotten away with it. So I smiled, I chatted with my guests, and I watched. Melissa picked up the marked plate and walked towards me, her face arranged in the sweetest smile. Catherine, I prepared this plate especially for you. All your favorite things. I took it from her hands, thanked her warmly and waited. Just a few minutes later, she got distracted taking selfies with Oliver. That's when I saw my chance. My neighbor Doris, 70 years old and one of my dearest friends, was standing nearby without a plate. In one smooth motion, I switched them. Doris picked up the poisoned plate without a second thought. I kept the safe one. 10 minutes passed, then 15. I was beginning to think perhaps I'd imagined it, let paranoia get the better of me. Then Doris gasped. Her face went pale. Sweat beaded on her forehead. Catherine, she whispered, I don't feel well. Before I could respond, her legs gave way. She collapsed onto my kitchen floor, her body shaking, foam forming at the corners of her mouth. The party erupted into chaos. Someone called 999. Melissa was screaming, "Oh my God, what's happening?" Oliver looked genuinely terrified, cradling Doris's head. And I knelt there beside my friend, holding her hand, thinking one terrible thought. This wasn't meant for her. This was meant for me. And in my cleverness, I'd given poison to an innocent woman. The ambulance arrived within minutes. As they loaded Doris onto the stretcher, Oliver tried to stop me from going with her. "Grandma, you should stay here. This must be such a shock for you." But I insisted. I needed to know what was in that food. I needed to know if my suspicions were right. At the hospital, a doctor came out after an hour. "Mrs. Williams is stable, but she's been poisoned. Plant-based toxin, likely oleander extract. It's not something you ingest by accident. Someone did this deliberately." My blood ran cold. Oleander. Deadly. Intentional. This wasn't food gone bad. This was attempted murder. Oliver and Melissa arrived at the hospital shortly after. Oliver seemed genuinely shaken. But Melissa? She kept checking her phone, deleting messages. When I mentioned how strange it was that someone could be poisoned at a private party with home-cooked food, Melissa was quick to respond. "Oh, you know how Doris is with her medications. She probably took something on an empty stomach." But here's the thing. How would Melissa know anything about Doris's medications? They'd barely spoken before tonight. That's when I knew for certain. Melissa had poisoned that plate, and she'd meant it for me. I didn't sleep that night. As soon as I got home, I made a phone call. Rebecca Stone, a private investigator I'd worked with years ago when some valuable items went missing from the school where I taught. "Rebecca, I need you to investigate someone. My grandson's girlfriend. I need to know everything." 48 hours later, Rebecca came to my house with a file. What she'd found made me feel physically sick. Melissa had £45,000 in debt. Credit cards, student loans, personal loans from dodgy online lenders. Her Instagram showed designer handbags and luxury holidays, but it was all smoke and mirrors. She was drowning, but it got worse. Through public records and some careful investigating, Rebecca had uncovered Melissa's digital footprint. 3 months ago, she'd been researching how to contest a will, elderly mental capacity laws in the UK, plant poisons undetectable in elderly patients, how long until probate after death. She'd been planning this for months. Then Rebecca showed me something that made my hands shake. During a casual visit to Oliver's flat, she'd noticed his laptop left open. The emails between Melissa and Oliver were right there on the screen. "Once she's gone, we can finally breathe," Melissa had written. Oliver's response made me want to be sick. "I can't keep asking her for money, this is the only way." Melissa replied, "Trust me, it will look natural. Heart attack, stroke, something like that. She's old. No one will question it." I sat there in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd taught Oliver to bake biscuits when he was 16, where we'd had countless Sunday roasts, where I'd comforted him after his first heartbreak. And I cried. For the first time since this nightmare began, I let myself cry. But there was more. Rebecca had found a life insurance policy, £500,000 in my name, taken out 4 months ago. The beneficiary was Oliver, with Melissa listed as co-beneficiary. I'd never signed any such policy. It was fraud on top of attempted murder. My grandson, the child I'd raised as my own after tragedy took his parents, had been planning to kill me for money. Not inheritance he'd have to wait years for. Immediate cash, enough to clear his debts and give him and Melissa the life they wanted. 5 days after the poisoning, Doris was released from hospital. She came straight to my house. "Catherine, I remember everything. That food tasted bitter, metallic. And I saw Melissa near the buffet doing something. I thought she was just adding seasoning. I made us tea and told her the truth. Doris, that plate was meant for me. I saw Melissa poison it. I switched our plates because I thought I was being clever. I'm so sorry. You almost died because of my mistake." Doris went very still. Then she reached across and took my hand. "Don't you dare apologize. You did what you had to do to survive. Now, what are we going to do about this little monster?" We spent the next 2 hours planning. I contacted my solicitor, Simon Fletcher, who I'd known for 30 years. We prepared 2 wills. The real one left Oliver just £30,000 in a trust fund, with the rest of my estate going to children's charities. The fake one, which we left carefully placed on my desk, showed Oliver inheriting everything. The house, the property, my investments, over £2 million. Then we installed hidden cameras in the living room, the kitchen, my study. Doris helped me practice acting. I needed to seem confused, forgetful, vulnerable. We needed them to feel safe. Safe enough to let the truth slip out. I called Oliver, made my voice sound tired, uncertain. "Darling, could you and Melissa come over tomorrow? I need to talk to you about something important, about my will. I want to make sure you're taken care of." There was a pause on the line. Then Oliver said, "Of course, Grandma, we'll be there." The next day, they arrived. I played my part perfectly. Trembling hands, forgetting words. I've been so confused lately. The incident with Doris made me realize I'm not getting any younger. I need to sort out my affairs. Melissa's eyes lit up. She tried to hide it, but I saw that flash of triumph. I fumbled with papers on my desk. The fake will was right there in view. Melissa's eyes locked onto it. £2.5 million. All to Oliver. She looked at him. He gave a tiny nod. "Catherine, it's wonderful that you're thinking ahead," Melissa said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I let them help me with paperwork, answered their questions about my assets, played the confused old woman perfectly. Then I asked, "There's just one thing I don't understand, Melissa." I let the silence hang. "What was in the plate you prepared for me?" The temperature in the room dropped. Melissa went pale. What do you mean?" At first she tried to deny everything, laughed nervously, said I must be confused. But my voice changed, became steel. The plate with the oleander extract, the one meant to kill me, the one that almost killed Doris instead. Oliver jumped to his feet. "Grandma, what are you—" "Sit down, Oliver." I'd never used that tone with him before. He sat. I turned my laptop around, showed them the video from my hidden camera at the party. Crystal clear footage of Melissa squeezing liquid from a dropper bottle onto my plate. Her face went white. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried to speak, but nothing came out. Then I showed her the next piece, the emails, her search history, the fraudulent insurance policy. With each revelation, I watched her crack a little more. Melissa tried to run for the door. I was faster than she expected, blocked her path. "I switched the plates, Melissa. I saw you. I watched you try to murder me in my own home." She started stammering, desperation in her eyes. "You don't understand. We needed—" "Melissa, shut up!" Oliver shouted. But it was too late. The dam had broken. "You have so much," she screamed at me. "We have nothing. You're old. You were going to die anyway. We just needed a few years head start. It's not fair that you're sitting on millions while we're drowning." I pulled out the investigator's report, started reading aloud. The debts. Every search. Every email. Oliver had his head in his hands, shoulders shaking. "So you decided to help me along?" I asked quietly. That's when the doorbell rang. "That," I said, "will be the police." Oliver's head snapped up. "You called the police?" "No," said Doris, walking in from my study, where she'd been listening to everything. "I did, 20 minutes ago, and I recorded this entire confession." Detective Inspector Sarah Crawford walked in with 2 uniformed officers. "Melissa Harper, Oliver Williams, you're both under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and insurance fraud." Melissa started screaming. "She tricked us. This is entrapment. You can't do this." The detective was unmoved. "Confessing to attempted murder on camera isn't entrapment, love. That's just stupidity." They put the handcuffs on Melissa first. She was hysterical, shouting obscenities at me. Then they turned to Oliver. "Anything you want to say?" the detective asked him. Oliver looked at me, really looked at me. His eyes were red, tears streaming down his face. "I'm sorry, Grandma. I didn't think she'd actually—" "But you knew, didn't you?" I said quietly. "You knew she was planning something." His silence was answer enough. "I raised you, Oliver. After your parents died, I gave you everything I had. A home, love, security. Every penny I could spare went to making sure you had opportunities. And you repaid me by standing silent while she tried to murder me." "I'm so sorry," he sobbed. "So am I whispered. I watched them take my grandson away in handcuffs. Doris stood beside me, holding my hand. And for the first time through all of this, I felt every one of my 68 years. The trial took 6 months. The evidence was overwhelming. The video footage, the recording of their confession, Doris's toxicology report showing oleander poisoning, Melissa's search history, The fraudulent insurance policy, the emails between them. Melissa was sentenced to 12 years for attempted murder, with an additional 3 years for fraud. 15 years total. No possibility of parole for at least 10. She showed no remorse. Even at sentencing, she tried to claim I'd manipulated everything, that I was a vindictive old woman who'd trapped them. Oliver took a plea bargain. He cooperated with the prosecution, testified against Melissa, admitted his part in the planning. He got 4 years for conspiracy. The judge said Oliver had been manipulated, but he'd still made choices. Bad ones. Ones that nearly cost me my life. 6 months have passed since that day. I'm sitting in my garden now, the same garden where Oliver used to play as a teenager. The roses are blooming beautifully. Doris and I meet for tea every Tuesday. She made a full recovery, though she says she can still taste that bitterness sometimes when she thinks about it. People ask me if I regret it, if I regret turning in my own grandson, destroying his future. But here's what I tell them. Oliver destroyed his own future the moment he valued money over my life. I didn't put him in prison. His choices did. I just refused to be his victim. I got a letter from him last week, the first genuine one since he was arrested. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He didn't make excuses. He just wrote, "I understand now why you did it. Thank you for not letting me become a murderer. Thank you for stopping me before I could actually kill you." I haven't written back yet. Maybe someday, but not today. The house is quieter now, but it's peaceful. I've set up a foundation in Doris's name to help elderly people who've experienced financial abuse from family members. It's funded by the money I'd originally planned to leave Oliver. Seems like a better use for it. I'm 68 years old. Society tells us that at this age, we should fade quietly into the background, hand over control, trust family blindly, accept that our time is past. But I'm here to tell you something. Age doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It gives you perspective. It teaches you that survival sometimes means making impossible choices. If you're watching this and you're older, and someone in your family is pressuring you about your will, your home, your money, listen to your instincts. If someone suddenly becomes very concerned about your mental capacity, document everything. If they're rushing you to sign papers, slow down. Get a second opinion. Talk to a solicitor they don't know. The signs were there with Oliver and Melissa. The sudden intense interest in my finances. The suggestions that I wasn't capable of managing alone. The isolation tactics, trying to keep me from friends like Doris. The urgency about updating my will. I just didn't want to believe someone I loved could hurt me, but they can. And they do. Elder financial abuse is one of the fastest growing crimes in the UK. Family members, carers, even friends target vulnerable older people. They manipulate, they coerce, they steal. And sometimes, like in my case, they try to kill. You are not alone if this is happening to you. There are organizations that help, solicitors who specialize in elder abuse, police who will take you seriously. You have rights, you have value, and you have every right to protect yourself, even if it means protecting yourself from your own family. I lived through losing my husband. I lived through raising a grieving teenager alone. I lived through building a life from tragedy. And I survived my own family trying to poison me. If I can do it, so can you. Getting older doesn't mean giving up. It means knowing when to fight back. It means recognizing that sometimes the people who are supposed to love you are the ones you need to fear. It means having the courage to save your own life, even when it costs you everything. I'm still here, in my house, with my roses, with my friend Doris. I'm still here, and that, more than anything, is my victory. I never thought I'd be sharing a story like this. But if my experience can help even one person recognize the warning signs, if it gives even one person the courage to stand up for themselves, then reliving this nightmare was worth it. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss stories that might save a life. Leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who might be in danger, share it with them. Your story matters, your safety matters, and you are so much stronger than anyone gives you credit for. Take care of yourselves. Trust your instincts. They're usually right. And remember, it's never too late to save your own life.